Welcome to the deep dive. Okay, imagine the Amazon you know, right? The store, maybe the speaker in your kitchen. Now, picture something else, something much, much bigger, sort of hidden. A tech engine that's impressionary. Well, it's reshaping AI and basically powering the digital world you use constantly. Today, we're diving into Amazon's maybe secret weapon, their really audacious move into designing their own custom chips. We're going to explore how Amazon went from, selling books online to becoming this semiconductor force. It's all driven by their huge cloud infrastructure, AWS, and yeah, surprisingly, their own silicon. Our insights today, they come from Amazon's cloud and custom chip revolution. Really fascinating stuff about this side of Amazon most people don't see. So, our mission, unpack this whole web of servers, AI, these custom chips, things that underpin so much of your digital life without you maybe even realizing it, and figure out what this quiet revolution actually means for you and, the whole tech world.
And the scale you mentioned. It's just staggering. The foundation here truly is Amazon Web Services, AWS. It's easy to forget just how much of the internet runs on it. We're talking giants like Netflix, critical government stuff, even NASA's data processing. The sheer number of data centers involved, the complexity,
Yeah.
and inside those, the chips are absolutely critical. That scale really sets the stage for everything else.
So it's less about the brown boxes arriving at your door and more about the invisible infrastructure they provide for, well, almost everyone else online.
That's a great way to put it.
When we talk Amazon's power, we really mean AWS. And commanding over 30% of the global cloud market, I mean, that's huge.
It's more than huge, it's foundational.
30%. That's not just a slice, it's like a cornerstone of the internet.
Exactly. Think about the load. Streaming movies globally, crunching NASA's numbers, handling secure government data all at once, all the time. That demands this colossal, always growing network of servers and this relentless need for more power, more efficiency. Well, that's why custom hardware wasn't just a nice to have for them, it became an operational necessity.
Right, because even the best standard chips, eventually they just can't keep up. Or maybe they aren't efficient enough for that kind of scale.
Precisely. There's a ceiling.
And that's where Amazon does something. Well, really surprising for a company that started as a retailer, they start designing their own silicon. It's still kind of wild to think about Amazon as a chip designer.
It really is quite a leap.
Yeah.
And they focus on two main types of custom chips, really tailored for their cloud needs. First up, you've got the Graviton CPU series. These are built on ARM architecture.
Yeah.
You might know ARM from, like, smartphones. It's known for energy efficiency.
Right, which is crucial in massive data centers. Power costs, cooling.
Exactly. Every watt counts when you have millions of servers. So Graviton, like the Graviton 3, it's up to 25% faster than previous ones. But it's also about that performance per watt. The 25% boost, it's not just a number on a spec sheet. At Amazon's scale, efficiency gains like that translate directly into, well, potentially billions saved over time. It changes the economics of the cloud for them and their customers.
Billions. Okay, that makes sense. And the second category, you mentioned AI.
Right. They're specialized AI chips. Inferentia and Trainium. Inferentia is built for AI inference. That's the doing part of AI, recognizing your voice command for Alexa, figuring out product recommendations on the fly.
Got it. Putting the AI models to work.
Exactly. And Trainium, that's for AI training. That's the really heavy-duty, computationally intense part where you teach the AI model in the first place.
Which traditionally uses things like GPUs, right?
Right.
Graphics cards.
Often, yes. GPUs are powerful general-purpose parallel processors. But Inferentia and Trainium, they're purpose-built for these specific AI tasks. This means they can often be faster and, crucially, more cost-effective than using generic GPUs for those jobs. They're optimized for the massive calculations needed in AI. These are the engines behind Alexa sounding smoother, or those product suggestions getting scarily accurate. So, bottom line, these custom chips make Amazon's AI smarter, faster, and, importantly, cheaper to run.
Cheaper to run, faster. This sounds like a huge undertaking, though.
Yeah.
Designing chips isn't easy or cheap up front. Isn't there a risk? You're betting heavily on your own designs. What if the tech landscape shifts direction? Are they locking themselves in?
That's a really sharp point. Yes, the upfront investment is enormous, no question, and you are committing to a path.
Yeah.
But for Amazon, the strategic calculation clearly comes out in favor of doing it. Why? Several reasons. First, like we touched on, lower long-term cost, moving from buying chips to designing them. At AWS scale, the savings over years are just astronomical.
Right, controlling the whole stack.
It's exactly. Second, customized performance. These chips aren't general purpose. They're fine-tuned for exactly how Amazon runs its services. Peak efficiency for their specific workloads. Off the shelf can't match that level of optimization.
Tailor-made. Makes sense.
Third, and this is big for their business, a competitive edge for AWS customers. Businesses running on AWS can access these chips. That offers them unique performance or cost advantages they might not get elsewhere. It becomes a selling point for AWS.
Ah, so it benefits their customers too, potentially locking them in further in a way.
It certainly strengthens the ecosystem, yes. And finally, related to your risk point, it reduces reliance on external chip giants. Think Intel, NVIDIA. Given all the supply chain issues we've seen globally with chips, having more control over your own supply, your own destiny, that strategic independence is incredibly valuable.
Especially for a company that needs those chips constantly.
Absolutely critical. So yeah, it's not just tech for tech's sake. It's a deep strategic play to control the hardware foundation of the cloud and, well, secure their dominance.
Okay, this is fascinating from a tech and business strategy angle, but let's bring it back to the everyday person. How does this custom silicon stuff, actually show up in your daily life? Where do you feel it?
Right, because it seems abstract, but it's working behind the scenes constantly, often in ways you don't consciously notice but that make things smoother. Think about it. Every time you interact seamlessly online, whether it's your smart speaker answering instantly or getting those creepily accurate recommendations, that isn't just software. It's Amazon using custom hardware to literally tune the AI, making it faster, more responsive, almost predictive.
So those smarter shopping suggestions, that's these AI chips crunching my browsing data faster.
Exactly. Analyzing behavior in near real time to suggest things you're actually likely to want. It boosts their sales, obviously. Or faster Alexa responses. When you ask a question, Inferentia chips handle that voice recognition and processing super quickly. Less lag, more natural interaction.
Okay, I can see that. Makes the experience better.
And it goes beyond just Amazon's own products. Remember those cost savings we talked about?
From the custom chips, yeah.
Amazon passes some of that efficiency down to its AWS customers. And since so many websites and services you use run on AWS, well, the affordability and reliability of those services are potentially influenced by Amazon's chip strategy. It keeps cloud costs competitive.
So it affects the cost structure of a big chunk of the internet.
Potentially, yes. And then there's the cutting-edge stuff.
Yeah.
Think about Amazon's investments in, say, self-driving tech with Zoox.
Right, their autonomous vehicle company.
Or all the advanced robotics in their warehouses. Those systems rely heavily on sophisticated, efficient AI processing. These custom chips are essential for making that kind of tech work at scale.
It really is woven into more than you'd think. But that point about strategic independence and the AWS customer advantage, some people might argue that this just makes AWS more dominant, maybe creates more vendor lock-in. Customers get used to these optimized chips, makes it harder to leave. How does that fit?
That's a totally valid perspective, and it's part of the competitive dynamic. Custom silicon can absolutely deepen a customer's integration with a specific cloud. But, for many big companies, the performance benefits, the cost savings, they might see that as a worthwhile trade-off. It's a strategic decision for them, too.
Okay. And looking even bigger picture, what does Amazon's push into chips mean for the rest of the tech world?
Oh, the implications are significant. Huge ripples. First, obvious pressure on the established chip makers. Intel, NVIDIA. When one of your biggest potential customers starts making its own stuff tailored exactly to its needs, that forces them to react, to innovate faster, perhaps change their own strategies.
Competition heats up.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And it highlights how the cloud war, the battle between AWS, Microsoft Azure, Google Cloud, is now also fundamentally a chip war. It's not just Amazon. Google has its TPUs, its tensor processing units for AI. Microsoft is developing its own chips too, like Athena.
So everyone's realizing they need custom silicon to compete at the highest level in the cloud.
It certainly looks that way. It's becoming table stakes for optimizing performance and cost at massive scale, especially for AI workloads. And for Amazon, success here could really cement them as the essential infrastructure backbone for the future of AI globally. That gives them incredible leverage.
So the fight for cloud leadership runs straight through designing the best custom chips now.
That seems to be the direction. Absolutely. Who controls the silicon? Increasingly controls the cloud's future capabilities and economics.
Wow. Okay, that was quite the journey. We started thinking about Amazon, the store, and ended up deep inside the world of custom semiconductor design shaping AI and the cloud. It really is this silent revolution happening under the surface. Most people using these services have no idea this hardware layer even exists, let alone that Amazon designs it. It's absolutely fundamental, yet largely invisible. And it does raise a really important question to think about moving forward. As these huge tech companies, Amazon, Google, Microsoft, increasingly build their own specialized hardware, these closed ecosystems, what does that actually mean? What does it mean for broader innovation, for competition, and ultimately for the future of all these digital services that we, rely on every single day?
A really provocative thought, something to definitely chew on as you go about your digital life. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into Amazon's hidden chip revolution. We hope you keep looking for these surprising connections between the tech you use and the forces shaping it.